Hey y'all, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day that you're watching this video. As always, I hope that you are blessed and highly favored. Y'all, it's been a while. It has definitely been a while, and today I decided that it was time to upload a new video. So first and foremost, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Make sure that you turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of my videos. So basically today is just, it was just time for me to make a video because God has really been blessing me exceedingly abundantly above all, like anything that I could ask or think. He has just gone above and beyond, and that kind of comes to the point of what I'm about to say, because I feel like a lot of times, or most of the time, or all the time, we always hear to seek God first, and that's exactly what we're supposed to be doing. We're always supposed to come to Him before we do anything, before we say anything, before we think anything. If we think we're about to do something, we need to be coming to God and making sure that it is in alignment with what He has for us and what He wants us to do. Not what anybody else thinks and not what we think per se. But I don't think we talk about actually doing what He said like enough. I know we do talk about it, but I can only speak for myself, as I have been in positions where I have always gone to God. I pretty much have always gone to God about things that just in my life in general or whatnot, but I have not always listened to Him. I have not always done exactly what He told me to do in a timely manner. Now, granted, a lot of times, like in those moments that I did not do exactly what He told me to do, somehow, some way, I came back around to it and I did what He told me to do in the first place. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about just doing what God told us to do in the first place, when He talked to us in the first place. Like, we have a tendency to have like this vision or this thought process about what we want to do in our lives, which is fine, because I mean, like, we should have the vision, we should write it down, we should make it plain, but we should also realize that there may be a detour that God has for us. Like, He might have us going a different way, and it might not necessarily look like what we thought it was going to look like. Like, we come up with these grand plans and we have it all laid out, and sometimes that's exactly how it happens, and sometimes God takes us to a detour, and then we be mad about these detours because we looking like, Lord, I don't even know why I'm doing this, I don't understand why I'm doing this and whatnot, just for Him to take us across this detour, and we bypass something that like was just good enough for us, and He takes us to something that was great, that was magnificent, that was more than we had even asked for. And that's kind of what has happened with me in my life. This year, the beginning of this year was so rough for me. I mean, when I tell you I was taking loss after loss, even like starting at the beginning of the last year, I definitely was taking loss after loss. I did not want to move back to my hometown. I did not want to even go back to my old job, and not because I had a bad experience. I just was kind of like, I feel like I'm moving backwards, because everything that like I had asked God for, I feel like I was moving forward to last year, especially when I made the big move to another state. So to be coming back home unexpectedly, to be going back to the same job I had just left unexpectedly, I was like, okay, Lord, what is going on, right? So how about this? So I go back to my last job, and I think it may have been a month that I was back at my last job, and I was asked to take another position that was going to bring me more money. I did not interview for this position. The people that were in the office that I worked in actually recommended me for this, and I was looking at them like, I don't really know. Mind you, this was a position that had been open for like 2 years, so it was open before I left and went to Louisiana, and then I came back, right? But we talked about what's for you is for you. Okay, so there's a whole lot of truth in it. What's for you is for you. Like, this position was open, and I had never even thought about doing it. I had never done any of that, but I took this position like after that, because it was a reason why God brought me back to my old job, so that I could be in position for these folks to even recommend me and say, you know what, I think she's going to do a good job. And I went in there and I basically said, yeah, I want it. Like, after I had to think about it, after I had to go back and be like, God, what is going on? Because I really didn't even want it in the first place, which hints as to why I didn't even apply for it before I left here. But anyway, So nevertheless, and then it's so funny because one of the people that recommended me, I hope she sees this video or whatnot, she comes to me. So when I came back to the position that I left, I was actually at a different school building, but I was doing the same position. But the school building that I was in, they are actually housed in another building while they do renovations on their building, right? So all of this stuff is temporary. Like the office that I was in, it was temporary. The office, like the number that I had, it was not for me. It was, and so when I put my name on the directory and my number, it had temporary in the parentheses. And so in the midst of me trying to figure out if I was going to take this position, because I'm telling y'all, I was adamant about, no, like this really don't align with what I had for myself to do or whatnot. She comes to me, she's like, I just want you to see this, like the temporary part that I had put on the directory, and everything about that position was temporary anyway. It was like, it was something that I wasn't supposed to stay in, and that brought it back full circle, which is why I even accepted it in the first place or whatnot. And I just feel like God is moving in my life, and now that I'm in a position, I'm definitely learning some things that I need to know to move to the next level. And I see where God is going, or I think I see where he is going with this, but I just have to say that I'm grateful that I stood there and I followed his direction. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I could have been like, no, and then been stuck. So, like, for instance, I am now working on my second master's, and I could have been done with this one, because this one that I'm going into is the one that was placed on my heart, the one that God told me to do in the first place, and I didn't do it. Great, I did go do another program, and it was beneficial to me, but it's not exactly something that I wanted. So now look at me, I got to go back around. But like, all of this stuff started happening once I started listening to exactly what God was telling me to do. Once I started doing exactly what he was telling me to do. Because yes, I have this vision, but I don't really know what I'm doing. I really don't. Like, I think I know I have this plan. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this, and then this going to put me in position for this, and then this going to put me in position for this. But in the reality is, like, none of us never really know anything that is going to happen in our lives. We don't know anything. Only he does. So, nevertheless, just follow exactly what he says. If he puts something on your heart and it just keeps like being there, like it's in your face, it's all the time, like you can't get away from it. It don't matter where you go, it just brings you right back around. That's what he intended for you to do. I don't care if it doesn't look like what you had planned. God has bigger plans, and I'm in a point in my life where I'm accepting that he has bigger plans for me. The things that I want, like, he's thinking bigger. He got bigger. And I just have to be patient, for one. I also have to listen to exactly what he said. Like, I can't keep going to him and saying, God, I need this, I want this, or do this, or fix this for me, or whatnot. And then I'm not doing anything that he just asked me to do. And I know he asked me to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because you feel that tug on your heart. You feel all of those emotions that come with, like, what God wants you to do. And you know it's good. You might be scared of it, because that's my thing. I always be scared of it because it's something that I don't know. I'm always like scared of the unknown, which this is another habit that I am breaking, because you can't grow when you already know. Like, you got to get into something that you don't know. That's the only place that you're going to grow in. That's the only way that you're going to grow at any given point in time in your life. Like, you got to be uncomfortable, and you got to be okay with that. So, moral of the story is, go to God, seek him first, do exactly what he said. I hope that this video has blessed you as much as it has blessed me. I hope that my testimony blesses somebody else. I hope that if somebody is in the midst of trying to figure anything out in their life, I pray that you figure that out. I pray that whatever God has placed on your heart, that you go and you do that, and then watch him bless you exceedingly and abundantly. As always, until next time, I hope that y'all are blessed and y'all are highly favored. And please do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Peace.